Come on, people.
Hello and happy Monday. Welcome to Coffee with Ori. I'm your host, Ori, and I am wishing you a happy Monday. Like always, fun-filled and informative things to talk about. Today, I want to talk about a few things that were on my mind from last week. So I kind of like disconnected myself last weekend early and really didn't want to be bothered with a lot of things because I wanted time to think and meditate, and I call it spending time with God. In the interim, one of the things that I need to talk to you about is that we cannot just walk away from things and pretend that there is nothing happening. There's a lot of stuff happening, and unfortunately, these things that are happening are creating a rift, but it's also creating a separation. And it's basically what I'm not going to even say society, because I don't even believe that society even knows or even understands why these things are happening. Besides that, I watched a lot of TV. So this weekend, after, excuse me, now mind you, my TV does not go on until the evening. So during the day, I'm writing or I'm reading or meditating. Excuse me. One of the things that I gathered this weekend is by watching movies that I never seen, and some I did see. They were old, but I never gravitated to a lot of the information that these movies had. Like some movies had this thing where in the future back then, it was like maybe in the 90s, it was like 2000 and 2020, and every vehicle and every whatever was run by electricity. And then of course we were hit with some type of bomb that knocked out all the electricity, and then just things just started to fall apart. Planes falling from the sky and a whole bunch of things happening. And these were a couple of movies that were similar to that. And then there was a movie called The War of the Worlds, and now it became like a series, The War of the World. And in The War of the World, it's something that happened because of signals. Now, we have been experimenting with sending signals out for the longest time, waiting for a response. But then again, when we get a response, we get scared. And of course, our founding fathers and all these good old boys, the only thing that they've learned out of this particular country is that The reason that they feel privileged is because they feel that they can take anything they want because their forefathers came and took whatever they wanted. Everywhere we go, we create drama. We create a problem and we take what we want. And that is why they call us bullies. And that is why a lot of countries don't like us. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. What I'm here to talk about is there are climactic changes that are happening, but they're happening faster. Look at what happened in Miami. Do you honestly believe that that is the only building that's going to collapse? There are many more buildings that are going to start collapsing. There are many, many, many more things that are going to start happening. Why? Because although these companies know that global warming is true, they're not thinking about global warming. They're not thinking about anything but themselves and thinking about money. So it is up to us to gravitate to our neighbors and friends and make friends and make changes and, you know, combine yourself with these people, because at the end of the day, these are people that you're going to use. And I don't mean use, I mean need. And you guys are going to be working together and you're going to be helping each other and things are going to be moving around and, you know, so forth and so forth and so forth. So I look at things and say, you know, instead of looking at your neighbor with animosity or trying to be nosy about your neighbor or trying to figure out what your neighbors do.
Right.
In the process, the one thing that we have to do is we have to acknowledge that there's a problem, because just because a lot of people in the world don't want to acknowledge that these things are happening around the world, we need to acknowledge it. We as spiritual beings, as people of color, we need to really start to unite again as we once did. And we need to make ourselves not just seen and heard, but almost kind of like invisible at the same time. Be in the world, but not of it. So we have to be able to be ourselves, protest, but at the same time keep ourselves with the knowledge and understanding, one, that we're not alone, and the United States government has always known we're not alone. Two, that there are a lot of things and plagues and stuff that they created. They weren't humanly made. I mean, they weren't machine made, or they weren't part of the earth. They were made by humans, and, you know, species changing and species being spliced and made into something else. We're doing that. We're creating that. So my thing to you is you have to be aware. You know, you talk about the awakening, but you're not talking about the awareness. You have to be aware that the trees talk, you know, the leaves that fly talk, the birds, you know, look at the patterns of everything. You know, if you start to see birds flying crazy, heading in one direction at one time, you need to run to Dodge, because that means that something big is coming. Now, part of this today is to remind you that we are human beings and we're here to love one another and respect one another. Where has this respect gone? Respect has gone down the toilet. Why? Because, you know, there are children that are not good to their parents. There are the parents that are horrible to their children. There are people who do many, many things, and then when they're falling or they fall on their ass, then they automatically want to push blame on somebody else. And I just think that if you do something and you fall, don't blame anybody. Pick yourself up and just start doing something. You know, pick up your neighbor. If your neighbor has fallen, help your neighbor. Help the people that have helped you in moments where you've needed the most. We're living in some trying times, and we need to learn to live in gratitude, because although many people can say, oh, well, I live in gratitude now, not everybody lives in gratitude. We need to live in gratitude because tomorrow is not promised to us. You know, perfect example, look, Miami. I mean, there are, I don't know how many dead, and there was 150, last I checked, 157 people that were still missing. It's a sad thing. It's a very sad thing. But there are climactic changes coming everywhere, not just here, everywhere. There will be climactic changes happening in New Jersey, in New York, in California, in Chicago. You know, all these big cities are going to be hit with something. Islands are being hit with something. And there is something coming. You know, we're not privy to a lot of the information that our government gives because they don't want us to know. You know, they want to be able to ring the bell at the last moment and have you running around like a chicken without a head, and then tell you, well, you know, we don't have room for this and we don't have room for that, but yet they created the problem. Again, it's not a conspiracy theory. If you read, you know, or you look at Facebook and you start to read all these little articles, you start to piece the puzzle together. Now, what I can tell you is that only through friendships and only through love and only through understanding can we survive this. You know, there's a lot of things coming, and right now this COVID virus has, I want to say, it has not just multiplied, but it has changed. So we need to have a different approach. I'm not saying that us that has the vaccine is going to be perfect, because we don't really know. The only thing I do know is that friendships are important, family is important, and sometimes you have to make sure that you reach out. You know, I'm not good for reaching out but I'm also not one of those people that is good at telling someone, oh, I love you. I'm not one of those people. I'm not one of those sappy people that constantly tell you that I love you. I'm really not. I'd rather you tell me that you love me and I say thank you and call it a day. Now, back to what I was saying. There's a problem going on in the world, and we need to gather ourselves together, and we need to do things to help our communities. You know, I met a fella last week sometime on the podcast that's on Tuesday, which is for men, and I met a gentleman there. Says, what's his name? Cecily? Anyway, well, I forget what's his name?
Say it again.
What was your friend's name? The one was on?
Naru.
Naru. Okay. So
Brother
he's a
Naru.
gentleman. I'm sorry?
I'm sorry. I'm going back for Brother Naru.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So, yeah, we're talking to his brother named Naru, and he's in California. I thought he was from Compton, but he's not from Compton. But, you know, he's in another big part of California that he remembers growing up and was filled with drugs and stuff like that. And, you know, they still work on the concept of, you know, the Black Panther concept. And he does a lot for his community and a lot for children and feeding the children and feeding the elderly and making sure that they have shelters and making sure that they have everything they need. Okay, this is one man's battle, and he's made his community, whether they be gang related or non-gang related, he's made his community, he's become a pillar of his community because he's always helping his community, which I believe that if we all do that to help each other rise, we can rise. We can make things of ourselves, and we can create so many great things. Unfortunately, society holds us back because they don't want us to show the world that we have abilities. So when you're someone who has abilities like us, they want to remove you because scripture says that the spiritual people will be fit and they will be whole and they will help in guiding. I believe that. I believe that we are vessels for a reason, and help, and we will help guide people to the best of our ability. But we need to really understand the part that we're playing, and we need to understand when something is not justified or something is lied on or they lie to you. There's a lot of things that are public knowledge. I just want to let you know that these crises that are going on in the world, it's only there's not enough people. And it's not a conspiracy theory, it's reality. There is not enough people that have died yet from this virus. It's not. It's population control. And it's always been about population control, just like HIV. It was about population control. They didn't really do anything about it until we started to reach people dying in the millions. Yes, Eddie. Yeah. Good evening. How are you? Good evening, everybody. So we have to it is up to us. Even though some of us may act like it is not our responsibility, it is our responsibility to make sure that we take responsibility for our own actions. It is up to us to make sure that we know laws, that we teach our children the Fourth Amendment, that we teach our children the First Amendment, that we teach our children that people cannot do things to you and get away with it, that there are laws and there are rules and regulations. And even if they don't want to hear it, then film it, then record it, have witnesses, because a lot of the things that are going on in the world, they are man-made, even weather. Some of it is man-made, and it's made to create chaos. So you have to ask yourself, is my life good right now? Is there anything better or anything that I can do to make it better? Well, I think that once you pass that plateau in the past, and if you didn't make anything better then, changing to now is going to be very difficult. So you have to keep yourself focused because that's important. Now, again, with that being said, we have to take into consideration that sometimes there are people who believe that by you doing them a favor, you owe them. Well, I don't really see that, because once you do someone a favor, you have to let it go. You can't keep harping on what you did for someone. Now, there are a lot of questions on hand, like, do we know, is this Armageddon? Do we know that this is going to happen? Do we know? Well, look at Miami. That's all I can say. Everything that is forsaken, everything that has been written cannot be forsaken, because everything that is written in the holy book are things that are happening. So we need to understand, and we need to have better answers, and not wait until there's a war between extraterrestrials and us, that they come and they want to destroy us because we have more knowledge than them, or we're at an equal level. Whatever it is, you know, everyone has a voice, and people need to put their voice, and they need to use their voice, and they need to listen. It's important that people do that. Very, very important. So my thing is maintain yourself with some decorum and be able to fight no matter what. Understand that spirit has a plan for you, but your plan has to be much greater than what you're asking spirit to do for you at this particular moment. Because spirit will help you, spirit will give you everything you need, but then again, you have to make sure that the side that you're on is not going to turn out and bite you in the ass. Why? Well, they're just certain things that you need to know and certain things that you shouldn't know. Not right now. So respect the fact, respect the process that there are things that they can't talk to you about right now because, you know, I have to create my own destiny and my own business before I can bring somebody on. So it's just giving you food for thought. Now, as far as us holding on, we need to hold on to each other. You know, we can't think about jumping and going somewhere else or doing this or doing that. We have to figure out a way to connect ourselves and then allow things to just move, because that's the important thing. Learning and then moving. So I just think that there's so many things. So I think and I know that everything is going to be fine. I think this is a good time to not address the situation with, you know, knives or anything like that. I think we need to address the situation by acknowledging everything that is removed from the park and start putting it back. You know, they laughed at Moses, and they laughed at what is this guy? Oh God, the captain of the ship. Hello. So anyway, molding people. I'm sorry about that. Molding people. I kind of like drift because I'm looking at certain things, and then all of a sudden the spirit starts to show me other things. Yeah, the beast rising from the deep ground, destroying what's on land. Well, yeah, I've had a couple of dreams like that yet about something rising from New York, from the water in New York. Something rising, like a bird, but something that was old, not something that it was, not something metal. You know? Hey, Eddie. There's a lot of stuff that I remember, you know, and these are things these are visions that I've had years and years ago of something coming from the water in New York City, rising from the water, almost like a phoenix, you know, and it seemed like a dragon, but it came from the water. It didn't come from the sky. And I saw other things rise from the ocean, you know, and I saw things fall from the sky, and I saw the sky turn the color of blood, red blood. So I think that in every generation, there is either a story or the truth or scriptures. And they all point to the same thing. It's been proven that this planet has been occupied many times, but there's always been destruction. So what makes us think that we're different? You know, we're not different because the 1% wants everything. They have everything, but they want power. but they want to be able to control everything. And unfortunately, the way that our government is set up, we kind of are like punks to the society. We give in to the 1%. And that's sad. That is a sad thing because as brothers and sisters, we have to unite. We have to make sure that whatever we choose to do, we're not going to have anyone or anything stand in our way and take our happiness away or take away the things that are very dear to us, like family and friends and stuff like that. We can't allow people to do that to us. Just like we cannot allow people to not allow us to march or not allow us to say what we have to say. Freedom of speech. People have forgotten that. The hypocrisy that we're living, because it is a hypocrisy. The hypocrisy that we're living in this country, excuse me, it's so big that it was Reptilian like screamed at. Don't mess with the dead, y'all, because you mess with the dead, you know what? They come. If you call them, they come. What I can tell you is that we really, really need to gather our thoughts. We need to gather who we are. We need to decide in which direction we're going, and we need to go in that direction. We don't need to look around and figure out what's going on and what's going to happen, because we already know what's going to happen. We do. We don't want to accept it, or we don't know fully, but we get the gist of what's going on. Now it's when the government is starting to admit and say that they want to talk about, alien technology and alien this and alien that. For what? There's a lot of people that know. There's a lot of people that don't believe. I'm a believer because I've seen one. So I'm a believer. There are many, many people that live in these realms that people find to be not to be real, but the openings of new dimensions is real. And I'm sure we have found a way to go and to do what we need to do. But we need to unite ourselves. We can't expect any other race to unite us. We have to unite ourselves. I understand that whole concept that Black Lives Matter. I'm all for it. But I'm also all for the fact that, not just Black Lives Matter, every life matters. And people need to understand that it doesn't matter what nationality you are. Every life matters, especially now. Right now, your moms could be working or your pops could be working. And at the end of the day, something can happen and then you need someone there, but you're used to pushing people away. Why? I like to be alone. I'll give you an example. I like to be alone. I've been alone for a long time. I have had people live in my home. Only once did I go and live in someone else's house. Do I enjoy that? No, I don't. But you know what? I try not to make trouble, and I try to always make sure that everything is done and that everything is moving in the direction that it's supposed to move. With this, I say, there are changes that are coming, and there are changes that are here, and there are changes that will continue to move forward. So you have to really figure out, okay, what am I going to do? What should I do? And if you have to ask those questions, then you're really dumb. Listen, we're going to go to commercial because it's 9:30. And then we're gonna come into the tapping and the Om just to release ourselves from all this tension. Okay. So it is 9:30. Commercial, please. One, two, three. Well, welcome back to Coffee with. Okay, hopefully we're done. Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Ori. And we've been talking about not letting go and not forgetting about people and the responsibilities that we have to one another. You know, Latinos, Asians, you know, Hispanics from all over the world, and people of color. We have a responsibility to ourselves, to this nation, to help heal this nation. And I'm talking about everyone, doesn't matter what color you are, that has the ability to show love and give love and appreciate nature. We have the ability to heal this planet, and we can do that. We can force things out of people's hands just by thinking about it, but we just don't know how. Mr. Lansall? Mr. Lansall, I don't know, really know who you are, but thank you for being here. Look, I can't stress this more. You know, this people are always saying that we don't care about this nation of ours and this planet of ours, and we don't care about a flag. Well, guess what? Who the hell gives a shit about a flag? I don't care about a damn flag. I don't carry anybody's flag. Put my picture on the flag and I'll carry my own picture and toot my own horn. Okay? Because what people don't realize is the flag was based on just so much bloodshed and so many different things. And what it means is not what everybody thinks it means. Exactly just like the Star Spangled Banner. Unfortunately, how many people died? How many slaves died? How many young kids died in these wars? You were 13, you could fight war. But yet, the rich people didn't fight wars. The rich never fought wars. They just send people out to fight wars. That 1%. So my thing is, how much do you love humanity? You don't have to love your neighbor or people, but humanity in itself. How much do you really love humanity? How much do you love your humanity? And what are you willing to do to keep it so that it doesn't break apart or doesn't fall apart? And those are the questions. That's the big question. What are you willing to do to keep it running in that direction without allowing it to fall apart? My answer to that is I do anything and everything that I can to move forward by trying to help one person at a time. I can't overwhelm myself by helping everybody, but I try to help one person at a time. And if I'm in the group setting and then one person listens to me or takes my advice, then that 1%, it was worth teaching them. Okay. Now, we're going to do some tapping. I mean, this is food for thought. Let's not be naive, okay? Let's not be naive. Let's not pretend that we don't believe in UFOs because they exist. Let's not believe that our government doesn't know. Let's not believe that these things that are happening have been created. But of course, you need somebody to blame, so you're blaming China now. And then before you were blaming Russia, and you were blaming Cuba, you were blaming this person. Yeah, they got a lot of shit going on in the country, but that's their country. You understand? When they come into our country, the Soviet Union, and they tried to invade us, or they tried to come in and steal technology and do whatever, what makes you think we haven't done it to them? What makes you think that they are the first? You ever stop to think that maybe these people are all wrong? They're not all wrong. They're all telling, they say constantly, in some news, you can look at it, you can read about it, where they blame us. But yeah, we're easy to point the finger at everybody else except ourselves. And we have to first look at what is in our eye before we start looking at somebody else's eye. Okay? And that is just common sense. We have to understand that things are happening on a global scale. And there will be a lot of people that will survive, and there will be a lot of people that will not survive. And it has nothing to do with the Bible. So for those people who are Bible bangers, and stop. If you want to think about something and you want to do something worthwhile, help heal humanity. Stop judging it. Stop healing it. Because the way things are going, the first thing that will go is the Mother Church. The Mother Church goes, the world will not collapse. It's just the Mother Church. But there again, even the Mother Church is a secret society that has many things that we don't know of, but of course they do and the government does. So at the end of the day, I am not trying to scare you. I'm trying to make you understand. Do not turn your back on your friend. Do not turn your back on your neighbor. Okay? Always keep your eyes open and be diligent. Because it is important that you help one another. It is important that you continue to move forward and not selfishly. Move forward knowing that somebody has had your back. And even if you didn't know it. Now, right now, what I want you to do is I want you to take a deep breath and I want you to hold it and count to 10 and let it go. Okay. I want you to take another deep breath. I want you to hold it. I want you to count. And I want you to let it go. Now, we're going to start tapping because tapping to me, it's something that opens us up. Remember where we start. I'm not starting on the crown. I'm starting on the sides. So you tap, and in your mind, you start looking at the world. Start visioning the clouds and the trees and the forest and everything beautiful around it. And just tap to relax. Tap right here. And when you tap, use your fingertip, but try to make it so that it is hard, that it is that your fingers are not weak, that you're just not doing it like this, that you're actually doing it hard. Why? Because it is important. It is important that you do that so that you can open up. So you keep tapping and tapping. And if in here it bothers you, just keep tapping. And you will notice that things will change because it's important. Now, the homework that I'm going to give you, because yes, I'm going to give you homework. I want you to think, each and every single one of you, I want you to think, how do you contribute to the world and what are you contributing to it? And if the answer is nothing, then you need to get a life and you need to figure out what you can do to help heal this planet. Because this planet was long before you came and your ancestors came here, this planet existed. But greed is what fuels men all over the world to go into somebody else's territory and either take what you want or kill the people and then take what you want. We live in a screwed up society, even though we think our society is the best. I don't really believe that it is. As hard as it may sound and as hard as it may be, we have friendships in our lives. We have family in our lives. We have boyfriends or girlfriends in our lives. We need to do it for them if we don't do it for ourselves. We have to understand that we have the ability to make things right because we are the chosen. Regardless of what people think of us, we are the chosen. We were chosen to do work that will help the world. That is what we were sent here to do. And we're going to do it. We are going to exactly do what we were set out to do. So with this one, I just want you to take a deep breath and I want you to hold it and then I want you to release it slowly. And this is just the Om to clear your head. Om. I would suggest that you do that at least 15 minutes a day so that you can see the difference. It's important that you do that. It's important that you see. Because in my mind's eyes, I close my eyes and I can see all kinds of things that are jumbling up together, but at the same time are coming together. So you need to really extend yourself, extend your hand, extend the part of you that is interested in moving forward, interested in doing things right, interested in trying to figure out what has truly happened, and how do you go about getting rid of it? So it's important that you do that. It's important that you make sure that things are moving in the direction you want them to. You know, a while back, we forgot, and I remember in the 60s and the 70s, I remember being around my friends in this neighborhood, and you know, people would come up to us, and people were always kind, and people were always loving. And then all of a sudden comes the 90s, and everything became a freaking nightmare. I don't know why. I just know that everything became a nightmare, and everybody is throwing everybody under the bus because everybody is an angel. So, my thought of the day is to make sure that you take care of those who take care of you. Those who don't bother. You know, it's important that you do that. It's important that you made a bed for them in the basement. It's important. It's important that you make changes. It's important that you do things that will help people. And like I said, every time I close my eyes, I space out because there's so much information coming at once. And people ask me, are you okay? And to be honest with you, no, I'm not okay because there's so much information that's given to me and I try to share it. And I know that I can only give but so much information that you will either understand or you won't understand. I just want you to know that you have to understand that we are all interconnected. We are there for each other. We should always be there for each other, no matter what the circumstances. I also know that whatever we need, we will have. You have to walk by faith and not by sight. You have to understand that we're not looking at scriptures. We're looking at science. We're looking at things that are climatically happening because we were told not to do certain things, and yet we're still doing it. So it is up to us to make a change. Do we really want to change? I don't think we do, because if we did, we wouldn't be going through everything we go through. Give me a second. Let me just turn off the stove. And like I said, I do apologize because I space out, but it's something that's been happening to me now for months. It's not something that just started. It's something that's been happening for months. I quite don't understand it. I quite don't understand why I feel sometimes like somebody's going to walk out of another dimension. They're just going to open up a portal and just take me with them. And, I don't get it, but I know that they do exist. So my thing is our time here is very limited. So instead of starting to worry and complain about, these churches and these Republicans or whomever, not just Republicans, those people who start complaining about women's abortions and things, you know what? There are better things and more important things in the world to worry about. There are millions of children that don't have parents. Why are you making such a big deal of something else? And I agree with that. I agree that with everything that's happening, I find myself, yeah, you're right. I find myself upgrading, and every time you go through things that I'm going through right now, where it's like I space out, all of this stuff is because we just had a strawberry moon and we're about to have another moon on this month. And this month is my birthday. So the moon is supposed to come out on the day of my birthday. So I am a moon child and it's having an effect on me already. And I believe that we have an unlimited power source, and we're able to move mountains. Yeah, I agree with that too, Dr. D. We have to go through many gates and many changes. Position, yeah. So at the end of the day, are you Dr. D? Yeah, you are. So anyway, you have to go through a lot of stuff, and I know this, and I've gone through a lot of stuff, and I've gone through a lot of changes, and I continue to keep going. But there's just moments where I'm fine all day, and then all of a sudden I'll sit down, even to watch TV, and I space out, and I start to listen, and I start to see. Yeah, yeah, I guess that's what you would call it, your primordial life force. All I know is that I'm taken to places that I've never been, and I can see the doors open. So I don't think that some people that are going through portals are actually going somewhere where they cannot function. They're going to be functioning because I've always believed that we live in a parallel world, and I've seen gateways open. Have I gone through? Hell no, I'm not stupid. You want me to walk through, you have to have somebody walk me through and explain shit to me because I really don't understand and I'm not even going to get involved in this. My realm is the spiritual world, and on the spiritual world is it's changing. The spiritual world is giving us energy, and it's showing us where to grab energy from and how to enhance the energy and how to make it work, because it is important that we know these things because it runs in our blood, and we need to know this before we move forward. And we are moving forward. We're just not moving at the speed that we should be. So when things happen to me, I know that I've gone on a journey, and it was a tough journey. And that is why it is important that we do not forget each other. We do not forget our friends. We don't forget people. We don't turn our backs on people. We try to be the best person we can be and just keep moving. It's the best thing to do. Um, and it's the best way to be. So I know that it is 9:52, but at this particular moment, um, I have a lot of emotional stuff that is within myself, but it's not me. It's in me, but it's not me. It's stuff that I pick up or stuff that the spirit keeps showing me, and they continue to be, and they continue to keep pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And it's not to test myself to prove that I'm better than anyone else or that I'm smarter or that I'm more gifted. No, that's not the task. We're evolving. We're evolving into something bigger and greater. So we need to continue to move forward in a way where everything is going to help us, and we're going to be able to help our neighbors, and our neighbors are going to be able to help other people, and so forth and so forth and so forth. So we have to continue to never stop working on ourselves, because it is an important thing. It's an important behavior to work on yourself. It is important that you do everything you have to do and keep yourself moving. Yeah, true upgrade to shift. I believe it. I believe it. You know, so whether you understand or you don't, sit back, analyze, look at everything that's going on, read the papers, go on Facebook and see everything that's happening. And you will see that this that's going on, this is not something that is it's nothing that's textbook. This is real. So we need to really, really, really analyze this and do what we have to do to diffuse the problem. Because this planet can be saved. A lot of people don't think that it can. Mm-hmm. You're right, Dr. D. But like I said, just focus on one another. Stop fighting. Stop arguing over stupid things, silly things that can be rectified really quickly by just sitting down. Be yourselves. Don't change. Keep yourself focused and watch everything you're doing and what you're becoming and how you're changing, because those things are very important. And you will see the changes are coming. So that says 9:55 or 9:56, but I definitely have to go because I have a couple of things to do. Guys, I'm signing off a little early, just a couple of minutes early, because I actually have something important that I have to take care of. And I just did not want to not log on today. But I want to make sure that you guys are living in light and love, like I send you every day, living in light and love, because it is important. And keep yourself focused on what is coming. On social media, you can see all the events of things that are to come. So heed the warning. That's all I have to say. So namaste. Take care of yourselves. I love you much. Blissful to all. Yes, to Alchemy.